You're listening to The Sports Fix.
Portions of The Sports Fix brought to you by Harry Buffalo. Harry Buffalo, join the herd.
Sports Fix listeners, don't wait all day or all week to get in on the fun. The party doesn't stop when we go off the air all week long. The Sports Fix social media sites are your one-stop shop for all things Cleveland sports. Jump over to Facebook.com/TheSportsFix, Facebook.com/TheSportsFix, and become a fan today because we love fans and they create some of the best sports talk in town, Daddy. You'll enjoy talking to your fellow Cleveland sports fans on the Sports Fix fan page. And if Twitter's your thing, well, you know how we do it. Tweet with us at The Sports Fix CLE. It's that simple.
Twitter.com/TheSportsFixCLE, baby.
Chat live with the crew during all your favorite Cleveland sports events, tickets and contests and trivia and so much more. Get with us today, The Sports Fix on social media, Facebook.com/TheSportsFix. Tweet with us at The Sports Fix CLE. Join The Sports Fix on Facebook and Twitter today.
Hi, I'm Hector Marinero. You're listening to The Sports Fix.
Live in Ohio, it's time to get your fix. The Sports Fix.
Welcome in, my friends. It's Wednesday, Hump Day, baby, here on the Sports Fix. A compact edition of the show today as those incredibly awesome scheduling people over at Major League Baseball did it to us again. You know, it amazes me. It amazes me as much Indians conversation as goes on here in the show, as much as everywhere else put together. And yet those Indians schedule makers do not call me in the month of December. Nobody picks up the phone in the month of January and says, "Hey, J-Rock, Big Daddy, how you thinking here? Let's avoid these afternoon games." They say no. They give no care. Indians, just about an hour from now, going to go to work, finishing off that series with the Twins. I jest. It's all in good fun. And we'll talk about that. Trevor Bauer taking the mound for the Indians here today as they look to take the series. Good bounce-back victory last night. As a matter of fact, we're going to start the show talking about that and kind of on a schedule here because we've got Maurice Hall, former running back for the Ohio State Buckeyes 2002 national championship team. Maurice scored a couple of key touchdowns down the stretch, beat Illinois, beat Michigan. He's gone on. He's done things, tried to advance to the NFL, and then he's gone into sportscasting and acting and a lot of different things. We'll talk about his time there at the Ohio State University and with Coach Tressel and playing with so many future NFL players, his time in Columbus, all of that. Looking forward to talking to Maurice Hall here in just a little bit on the show. He'll be with us just about 20 minutes from now. Dan Wismar from the Cleveland Fan, he'll be with us as well. We'll talk to him about all the latest goings on, the recruiting updates with the Buckeyes. We'll talk a little bit of Aaron Kraft trying to catch on in the NBA. Speaking of former Buckeyes, we'll talk about that, the Indians, all of that. We always know where it goes. Who knows where it goes with us and Dan Wismar here on Wednesdays. Can't wait to have Dan with us. You guys will talk the latest with the Cavs, continue to make some machinations and maneuvers that most likely lead to future moves. Andrew Wiggins getting ready to ink that rookie contract, which I'll get into it more later, but it amazes me how many people are missing that part of the conversation when it comes to making a trade for Kevin Love. I'm not even getting into the aspect of should you trade Andrew Wiggins or not. That's, everybody's got their opinion on that, but what people fail to realize is that the Cavaliers have to sign him and have to wait 30 days to trade him, period. If you can trade him right now, but all you're trading is the draft rights. All you're trading is a name, and he adds $0 to the contract. So you can't just do that. Otherwise, you're basically giving him in, throwing him in, but financially, he does nothing. Picked up yesterday. That's $3 million. You've still got $1 or so in contracts that are going out. We'll talk more about it later on, but two teams can't agree to a trade, back out, 30 effect, then we can make the trade. But that's what they will have to do, and the Cavs and the Wolves will have to be able to trust each other that nobody's going to back out and that the Wolves aren't going to go try to look for a better deal. But plain and simple, the only way to make that trade and include Andrew Wiggins is to wait 30 days. And people aren't getting that. I saw a couple of people, media people yesterday saying, man, I hope this Kevin Love thing gets done tomorrow, last night. And I'm like, it can't get done unless it doesn't include Andrew Wiggins. So I guess from that perspective, I hope it gets done tomorrow too, but that's not going to happen. And doesn't mean that the trade's not going to happen, but people are missing that part. It's a part of the collective bargaining agreement. You can do a sign and trade with guys that are free agents. You cannot do that with the rookie. The rookie has to sign his contract. Right now, he doesn't belong to the Cavs, and he has no financial value. He is simply a draft right. That's all, But anyways, we'll get into that later on in the show. So much more going on, you guys. I see calls already coming in. Let's rock and roll. The Sports Fix on the air. J-Rock, the Big Daddy on the microphone with you, welcoming each and every one of you. Hey, some people call me Jerry Meyer. Some people call me the Big Daddy on the mic. Some people call me J-Rock. Take your pick. Welcome in all of you listening across the Sports Fix Radio Network, which is live on TuneIn and Spreaker and Mixler, and on digital delay 24 hours a day around the world on iHeartRadio, the world's largest internet radio provider, on Stitcher and SoundCloud and iTunes and all the different podcast and download platforms. Thank you guys, as I say each and every day. Thank you so much for carving out some time and allowing me to join you and spending some time together, because I love the time. I love it. I love what we do here, you guys. And so let's do it together, because I don't just like to talk to myself. I've already got calls in. 216-539-7535, the number to call. 216-539-7535, the number to call. If you can't get through on the phones, if they're busy, if you can't get there because you're at work, that's all good. Keep the conversation going on Facebook and Twitter and social media. Facebook.com/The Sports Fix. Tweet with us at The Sports Fix, CLE, all one word. You can email us, thesportsfix@AOL.com, and the website, don't forget, the one-stop shop, the home base, the mothership, thesportsfix.net. And that's your home base for everything you need, whether it's the live show, the replays, the social media widgets, our sponsor banners, everything. It's all right there on thesportsfix.net. Before I go to the phones, I want to kind of steer the conversation in the direction of the Indians, because I want to start off talking a little Indians baseball last night. Let's talk a little bit about the Indians here last night. Danny Salazar, man, it was an up and down journey watching it, even though the end result is slightly encouraging. Before we talk about the game, which the Indians won, the offense, all of that, got to talk about one of the more interesting innings that I think any of us have ever seen. I mean, it's not very often that you get to say, my man faced six hitters in an inning, gave up no hits, and struck out the side. I mean, he walked three. He walked the bases loaded. It looked like it did. You seriously, all the joke out of my voice, it did look like he was on the verge of imploding there in the second inning. I mean, you're thinking, okay, took him, 26 pitches or so to get through the first inning, and then boom. You're like, what is going on here? All of a sudden, he couldn't throw a strike to save his life. At that point, I wouldn't have swung the bat if I was the Twins. He just couldn't find it. And I'm thinking, oh, no, man, not in the second inning, because a lot of the things we were seeing, that's exactly what was wrong before. It's the whole reason that he got sent down back in May, the inconsistency, all of that. And I know you're lying. I would be lying if I told you that I was not sitting there going, wow, man, what is happening? He's melting down here. But, hey, he gets out of it. And just what an amazing stat line. It's almost as crazy as that one back in May when he, 10 strikeouts, but he didn't even go 4 innings in the game, And it's those odd stat lines. But, yeah, he gets through, walks the bases loaded, and strikes out the side in the inning there. And, it was encouraging. And I was 26 or 28. I don't have it right in front of me. I was counting last night. The off-speed pitches, that secondary stuff that he was using instead of just beating the fastball, and we talked about it before. His inclination, if you got to him or if he couldn't throw strikes, was I'm going to throw this thing even harder, even faster. Problem is that at the major league level, a lot of guys can hit fastballs no matter how fast you throw them, but it was good. Talking about that second inning, that was how he got out of it. Man, he hooked both of those guys with curveballs on swing and strike three, breaking balls that just the bottom dropped out on him. And really, with his stuff, and that's the thing that the Indians have been trying to work with him on, and have been encouraged about in his last few minor league starts was when he finally develops, and not only develops it, but uses it. He's got to use it effectively, those other pitches, and gets himself going that way. I mean, it's a whole lot different. We've talked about this with some of the greats around baseball. It's one thing to face a guy who's throwing 100 miles an hour at you. It's another thing to face a guy who can then drop it down and throw an 82-mile-an-hour breaking ball at you in the same location with the same movement and then jump it right back up to 97, 98 again. When you can play with guys like that, that's what's so intriguing about what Danny Salazar can do. He's just got to calm down. He gets himself going. He starts moving too fast out there. It's the youth and the inconsistency that we talked about before. So Mickey Callaway, matter of fact, he didn't even, I thought he was going to come out after the second walk. Then when he threw the ball one on the third one, Mickey's like, no, I'm going out there now. I'm not going to wait any longer. Let's go out there and just calm my dude down here. And he did. And the lead, that was the other thing too, is I'm thinking, man, all right, bam, Indians took care of business offensively, got ahead for the kid. Now he can play from ahead. And then you see that when he gets in trouble with the bases loaded, you're going, oh man, here we go. But held on, and the Indians not only held on there, made it through the game. Salazar got the victory, even though, once again, the pitch count early in the game made it that he couldn't go deep into the game, but that's okay. The Indians have the guys in the bullpen to take care of business. Salazar, his 70% of his pitches for strikes. He really had better control. I mean, think about it. Those 3 walks, all in the second inning, were the only 3 walks that he had last night. And once he got through the second, it almost seemed like there was a little bit of a difference from the Danny Salazar that was up here in the beginning of the year. Was, in my opinion, if Danny Salazar back in May would have walked the bases loaded like that, he would have piped one and ended up getting dropped, double, triple, or who knows, a grand slam. He would have got hit. He would have put gas on the fire, I think. And that's what I mean, that trying to run through the wall, trying to throw it even harder. Look what he did yesterday. He got out of it and then got better. After that inning, 5 hits, all singles, 1 run allowed for Salazar. Even though he didn't get as deep as you'd want, it was a good, encouraging first start. And he was out there in the high 90s the whole way. I was definitely, I want to say encouraged, and I don't want to say satisfied because there's a lot of work to do, but definitely encouraged by what we saw with Danny Salazar. And to add right on to that, he wasn't the only one that came through. I mean, Carlos Santana goes 4 for 5, man. And Carlos Santana is really, really getting himself going, you guys. I mean, we talked about him all year as everybody just wanted to bail on Carlos Santana. They wanted to trade him. They wanted to move him here and out of there. And he kept getting on base. Even though we talked about how terrible that first 2-month stretch of the season was for him with the batting average, really 6 weeks that he went through that killed his batting average. As a matter of fact, he's at 15 home runs. He got 10 of them. He had 5 home runs of the season that's been played so far. In the first half of it, he had 5 home runs. He's had 10 in the second half of what's been played so far. I mean, he has definitely been a different guy, as we've seen. And you look at some of his splits and you see, think about this. Think about the fact that in the month of April and May, Carlos Santana had 28 hits combined in 176 at-bats. 28 hits in the month of April and May put together. He had 24 hits in June. He's got 17 so far in July in 18 games here. I mean, you can see the difference. He's finally got himself going on this trip. He's hitting over 300, and you saw him last night. Just the swing that you saw was that good Carlos Santana swing when he jacked the ball early and jacked the ball late, man. Carlos Santana was doing it, and Nick Swisher too. I'm a big believer. You guys know I say it all the time that as much as I criticize guys, you got to flip that around as well. And Nick Swisher has been slowly getting out of hey, from the level you're at, any contribution is appreciated. But when you see these guys, especially Santana, but Swisher too, when Terry Francona said it best. He said, man, that's the difference maker, especially speaking about Santana. That connects the lineup. That is what this lineup is missing many times, that when Santana is going, that's what gets it going good, as you saw last night. And it can really swell. Man, I'm telling you, Carlos Santana, hopefully he continues to do, what he's been doing, because he's going to be a big part of what we've seen here. Guys, I'm going to keep this conversation going. I've got to get to the break here. Let me get a phone call in real quick. A quickie here to start things off. Caller, you're up on the Sports Fix.
Big Daddy.
Hey,
How
what's
are you?
happening, my man? I'm good, Big Bob. I've only got probably about 2 minutes here with this call because I've got Maurice Hall coming up in just a few minutes, but you've got the floor, my man. Indians, you feeling happy after last night, I'm sure.
Absolutely.